We've decided to share the ocean with Iran. We've given them the bottom half.
Well, there's a lot of crazy things happening today. President Trump once again threatens to leave NATO. We have updates on the Iran situation. CNN has a complete meltdown. But more importantly, Chuck Norris has passed away. Rest in peace, Chuck Norris. You're one of the greats. And I just wanted to front load that with that, even though it's sad information, I think it's important for people to know. But let's get into the news and let's stay on track, shall we? All I ask in return is for you guys to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.
He was favored to win easily, and we wiped him out, right, Ron? And he's been a congressman. He's one of the most popular people in Congress. But I don't care about that. I just care that he was my doctor, and he said I'm the healthiest human being. He said, Ronnie, am I healthier than these guys back here?
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. All right.
Yes, sir.
See, this is why I like him.
I mean, that's like a girl asking for people to say how old she looks, and you constantly do 20 years or 10 years younger. Of course, it's going to make them happy.
Operations of all time against the Iranian regime, and it's amazing. It's not, I don't want to get too crazy here. Not a contest. It's not even a contest. They do whatever they want. They can't, they had a lot of great equipment. Russian equipment, Chinese equipment, they had plenty of money. That equipment was useless against us, useless. No force on earth can beat the American sailors or the American military. We're the strongest in the world by far.
And then this is probably one of the coldest lines ever said in politics.
The last job anyone in the world wants right now? Senior leader for the IRGC or Besiege. Temp jobs, all of them. And to borrow a page from Admiral Ernest King in World War II, we've decided to share the ocean with Iran. We've given them the bottom half. We've damaged or sunk over 120 of their Navy ships, with battle damage assessments pending for many more. See, oftentimes we have to wait a few days on battle damage assessment to get the real number. Their surface fleet is no longer a factor. Their submarines, they once had 11, are gone. Their military ports are crippled.
Dude, that's a scary freaking line for the USA to say that, but you got to love it. You got to love it, right? Peace through strength. Then you have, a crazy update. Betting market, Polymarket, says that Putin has offered to stop providing intel to Iran. That's obviously a good thing. If the United States does the same with Ukraine. I don't know. Maybe in 2026 we see the war in Ukraine finally end and maybe sanctions are lifted on Russia and you see Russia turn around and be not so bad guys. Maybe they take a turn. Who knows?
Truth Social minutes ago calling on allies to step up as the regime steps up attacks on oil and gas facilities across the Gulf region. President writing this: without the USA, NATO is a paper tiger. They didn't want to join the fight to stop a nuclear-powered Iran. Now that fight is militarily won with very little danger for them. They complain about high oil prices they're forced to pay, but don't want to help open the Strait of Hormuz, a simple military maneuver that is the single reason for the high oil prices. So easy for them to do with so little risk. Cowards. And we will remember. Yikes. Steve Harrigan is live from Armenia's border with Iran. Steve.
Jackie, a number of European leaders now calling for that Strait of Hormuz to be opened up for commercial shipping. A potential coalition to make that happen could include Great Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, Japan, and Canada. But so far, none of those countries.
Canada ain't doing anything. The UK ain't doing anything. Keir Starmer's already said that many, many times, and so has Macron, that they're not going to help President Trump with any of this. Japan is willing to help. Netherlands has to help because they're huge in gas. And I think Germany and Italy might potentially help. What the hell is Canada going to do? Send thoughts and prayers? For crying out loud.
Put military assets in the region. And it's clear from the traffic in the Strait of Hormuz just how jammed up it is. Before the war, you could see the number of ships, tankers entering and leaving the Strait of Hormuz. As of Tuesday, that number down to 0. Iran also lashing out against its Gulf neighbors after a major oil field in Iran was attacked by Israel. President Trump said Israel would no longer target Iran's energy infrastructure. Here's President Trump.
Prime Minister Netanyahu about attacking the oil and gas fields?
Yeah, I did. I told him, don't do that, and he won't do that. We didn't discuss. We do. We're independent. We get along great. It's coordinated, but on occasion he'll do something, and if I don't like it, and so we're not doing that anymore.
Administration officials said they could soon ease restrictions on the sale of about 140 million barrels of Iranian oil for sale in the Far East. Guys, back to you.
All right, Steve Harrigan, thank you so much.
I mean, the longer this gets dragged on, then the higher gas prices are going to be. Nobody wants that. The higher the cost of pretty much everything else in the world is going to be. But for some reason, Iran has the backing of places like China and places like Russia to keep that strait closed. So we're going to have to see how this does play out. Then Kevin O'Leary went on CNN and, well, he dropped some truth bombs. Let's have a listen.
Do you share President Trump's assessment? He was almost surprised that prices didn't go higher or haven't gone higher than we've already seen them go.
It takes about 3 months of gasoline, or at least oil, a barrel priced above 95 to get into that $6 to $7 gasoline price. That's the freak out price for the consumer. We're nowhere near there. We're just 20 plus days into this conflict.
Gasoline, I mean, that feels like, I don't know, the 70s level crisis.
Yeah, well, that's what the numbers say. I mean, if you actually keep the per barrel price, the input price to the refinery, north of $95 for 3 months, that's where you get to historically. Now, I think the president knows that. I think the administration knows that. I think midterms know that. I think every politician, both sides of the aisle, know that. So there's a lot of pressure to resolve this sooner than later. And secondly, but it's not good enough to resolve it and stop bombing Iran. You have to resolve the Strait of Hormuz. You have to get the 21% of all energy that goes through that strait clear. It's got to be able to go through. It's got to be insured. That 2-mile stretch where is the deadly zone, where these attacks occur. That's the shortest width in that strait where the tankers go through. And for decades now, that's where the attacks have been. That's where they're trying to mine it. And so everybody knows that. All the insurers know that. All the shipping companies know that. And so the minute you can float through a tanker, even if it's empty, just to prove that it's not mined and that the insurance syndicates can see that, you will immediately have an effect on the price of global oil. And it's not just the benefit of domestic markets. The Chinese, the Japanese, everybody. Japan gets 70% of their oil through there. So they've got a lot of interest while they're sitting in the White House today to work some deal out.
And what do you make as an investor of the attacks on the gas field today? These attacks on the actual infrastructure that produces energy. Do you find that chilling?
I don't like war, period. Investors don't like uncertainty. But we have to invest money. And so we have to make decisions every day. We talk to each other all the time about this. Most of us are looking at this saying, how long can Iran take this punishment? How long can it keep getting pounded this way? And why would they continue to do that? And what amazed most people is having them rain drones and missiles on their neighbors. In the last 3 days, the narrative's completely changed.
They've lost all of their support. I mean, they're losing so much support because they're affecting the entire world at that point, right? And they're targeting civilian places in neighboring what was supposed to be allied countries. Of course, we're talking about Iran. So not a very good look for them. Not a very good look at all.
You heard it out of the leadership and most of the countries around them saying this is not something we're going to work with after this is resolved. So they've really isolated themselves, and the market kind of knows that at the end of the day, there's going to be a coalition paying for that Hormuz.
Yeah, there will be. And it's getting crazier and crazier by the day. Iran keeps burning their bridges with what they are doing. But now we're going to shift over to a CNN panel where Scott Jennings, I mean, he does what he does best, makes them look like idiots.
A little while. Well, I mean, look, there's risk in everything. Every decision a president makes has risk, and none are riskier than the decision to commit troops to the theater of war, not just because of what can happen in the theater, but because of what can happen at home. Gas looks like it's $3.73 a gallon. It got somewhat higher than that during the Biden administration. It's now, we haven't gotten back to those numbers yet. But for candidates, going out and talking to people, they're in a little bit different situation than the commander in chief, who has to have to look at a national security situation. They have intelligence that nobody else has, and they have to make decisions knowing full well the risks that come with it. He made the call. The polling, by the way, among the Republican Party and among the MAGA friendly voters is quite clear. They trust the president on this. How long it lasts, and when we get out, we'll make a difference on that. But right now, they do stand right behind the president.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people do see what's happening right now. And let me know down in the comments if you agree with what's going on in Iran. I think that, if this gets dragged out for too long, then people are going to start to get pretty pissed off. But at the end of the day, Iran is a threat. And if they are threatening other allied countries or even the United States and United States troops, then something should be done about that.
Today, we're coordinating. We're allies here. But it's perfectly reasonable to believe that we do have different objectives here. Our objectives, I don't think, have really changed. We don't want them to export terror. We don't want them to have nuclear missiles. We've taken out the Navy. And these are our objectives. Israel has to live with this in the neighborhood. And Israel, of course, for them, this is the finishing off of what was done to them on October the 7th, which will never happen again. So it's reasonable. It's reasonable for us to have different objectives.
Is the answer to the question that Israel does what it wants and we just have to live with it? Because that's the question the world is asking themselves. If Israel decides to continue moving up the escalation ladder, attacking energy, retaliatory attacks, that's not just Israel's problem anymore. That's the whole world's problem suddenly.
Well, look, it sounded to me today like President Trump was not happy about this strike, and it sounded like Prime Minister Netanyahu got the message. So, look, my anticipation is that we're heavily influential to them. We don't run them, and they don't run us. We're allies, but they don't control us. And I don't know that we're necessarily control them.
We're the senior partner.
We're the senior partner. We're going to have to wait and see how this does play out. But of course, it is a very volatile situation. Just when you think that things are calming down, more bombs and more gas plants end up getting attacked. So I look forward to seeing, some sort of resolution that comes sooner than later. But let me know where you guys stand on this. Do you think that what Trump is doing is something that you support? Do you support getting rid of the terrorists in Iran and getting rid of that regime? Do you support America maybe controlling a part of the Strait of Hormuz? Looking forward to reading the comments down below. Thanks for watching. Hit the like, subscribe. I'll see y'all later. Bye for now.